Welcome to day 2 of the Mystery School. I am reading from Don Miguel Ruiz's The Actor, and day 2's topic is language. I hope you slept well and that your dreams were helpful to the learning process. Even now, in the brilliance of the morning, you are dreaming. You are imagining and interpreting. As the sound of my words reach your ears, you assume their meaning. Okay, I get it, you might say, and go on to the next thing. Instead, imagine how their meaning applies to your life. Imagine reacting to situations in uncharacteristic ways because you dreamed about my words in a new way. By picturing yourself doing just one thing differently, or seeing just one thing in a way you never thought of before, you change a little. You evolve. You expand your usual perspective and you create a slightly different reality for yourself, just as great artists do. You may not see yourself as an artist, and yet your objective is to create. You see things your way and share that unique perception through your art. Everyone is destined to create a story, for instance. You create stories, and you always have. At an early age, you learned to give names to everything. You were trained to apply all your experiences to the development of your story. You were told who you were and who your ancestors were. You were given a history and also a dream of the future. You were told all sorts of stories, and soon you became your own storyteller. Your personal story developed over time, inspiring every possible emotional reaction, joy, despair, and everything in between. It's a story about the artist, told by the artist. You are at the center of a universe you create. Your story is different from every other story, but, as I'm sure you've noticed, all stories have important elements in common. All stories have a protagonist, a character through whose eyes the reader sees the world. You've created such a character for yourself and share his or her point of view with everyone who will listen. All stories have heroes and villains. Yours does, I'm sure. All stories appeal to people's emotions. You've probably noticed that your stories get a better response when you exaggerate the drama a little. Of course, none of this matters unless you and your listeners speak the same language. What good is a story, however dramatic, if the words make no sense to the listener? Students on the World Campus speak many different languages. They speak languages their parents taught them in early childhood, and they also learn to speak the language of their chosen art. Many choose to learn the language of other artists and other cultures. Whether or not they see themselves as teachers, every artist will eventually teach others. Whether or not they see themselves as artists, they have been creating a masterpiece since they arrived. Without language, you and I would have problems communicating effectively. Of course, we could scratch shapes in the dirt or paint on walls. We might gesture and point. Inevitably, we would have to work out a system of sounds, and those sounds would become more elaborate over time. As our speaking skills developed, we'd look for ways to explore more abstract ideas. We'd try to communicate feelings. We'd want to explain things that can't be seen. That's the way language began for our species. We incorporated one sound, then another, and another, according to mutual agreements. A language is built on agreements. You and I decide that this sound means this thing, and so on. That is the way language works, even now. If you think a word means something specific and I interpret it another way, our communication fails. Disagreement leads to misunderstanding, and even the simplest misunderstanding can lead to the end of all communication. When we agree on the meaning of words, when we enjoy listening to each other and sharing ideas joyfully, our communication improves. We develop our artistic skills. Language is an amazing, living form of art. Humans may not be the only species that practice this art, but we are masterful at it. It would be impossible to count the number of languages humanity has developed since its beginning, when men and women drew things in the dirt and painted animals on cavern walls. How did you and I learn to speak the language of our people? We arrived as helpless infants, and with no language skills beyond wordless screams and kicking feet. As our brains developed, we learned to distinguish sounds. Slowly, steadily, we began to interpret sounds and eventually mimic them. It happened over time, but it happened easily and organically. We were destined to be artists of words. You know the role mimicking plays in childhood development. As a toddler, you heard the sounds that your parents and siblings made, and you attempted to duplicate those sounds, syllable by syllable. You also observed actions and mannerisms. With a lot of practice and repetition, the baby eventually became the master. The first thing you must have noticed in your infancy is how people talk and talk. They talk about themselves and they gossip about each other. In fact, gossip is the common tongue of humanity. Adults gossip and children listen. They catch on quickly. Soon they're gossiping with their peers and making fun of kids who aren't like them. This process, too, is easy and organic. As they watch their parents interact socially, children learn a subtle emotional language as well. People tend to react emotionally, yes, even dramatically, to what they hear and see. Words of disapproval trigger hurt feelings, and people show it. Words of praise give pleasure, and they show that. They also act out their disappointment, indignation, and outrage. They're good at this, they've been practicing all their lives. People make faces, they yell and shout, they argue, and then, feeling remorse, they make up. These are features of their art. Children learn these skills from experts. Joy has its own expression. So does anxiety. So does heartbreak. The human body speaks a multitude of languages, which kids pick up at an early age. They notice and they imitate. They observe, learn, and bring their unique style to the craft. Technique, genius, and personal style. These are the qualities of a great artist. And you definitely are one. You and I show different kinds of genius, but we are both masters at being who we say we are. Whatever your vocation, you probably sound like your peers. If you changed careers, you might sound a little different, because every professional speaks a different dialect. Doctors don't sound like dairy farmers. Attorneys don't sound like baristas. Each trade is its own culture. Changing locations changes the conversation. When you move around the country, you hear unfamiliar idioms. Beyond your country's borders, language and culture change. Those changes are enough to alter your reality. Imagine humanity as a big herb garden with a wide variety of plants that offer a wide variety of benefits. There are herbs that comfort or cure or agitate, but all plants function in similar ways. They require the same basic elements to exist. So do we. But while humans function in the same way as most living things, they also talk. They use symbols, printed words, sounds, and physical gestures to communicate. Language is not only a necessary part of human survival, language is our astonishing art. Breaking the code. Humans use codes, or specific sets of symbols, to communicate. An alphabet is such a code. Countless words can be created out of just a few symbols. This is the wonder of language. Transferring an idea or a feeling into a few spoken syllables is a mystifying art. How the brain makes that happen is a matter for another mystery school. But for now, let's discuss the codes we deciphered long ago. All variations of our Latin alphabet consist of up to 26 letters, beginning with A, B, C. Mix these up and you have a living language, subtle and adaptable, and proven to endure the ages. The formula is the same in every culture. A handful of symbols, when rearranged, can produce countless phrases, making human communication as powerful and complex as it is. And then there is the language of numbers. Counting 0, there are only 10 syllables in this code, so few, and yet their ability to calculate and to quantify is limitless. Mathematical formulas provide solutions to life's biggest puzzles. Math has allowed humanity to build cities and empires. It has helped to cure disease and launch us into space. Supposedly. 1 and 0 have defined the computer age, altering communication forever. Numbers offer more ways to tell a story and to unravel life's most confounding mysteries. Music, too, is a language of its own. 12 notes or tones can be arranged in infinite ways to produce countless musical phrases. We can capture a tune, record it, and play it back as many times as we want, to our constant delight. Yes, music is a delight to the senses. Musical beats pulse through all matter. From the time of primitive humans, music has had the power to excite emotions and unsettle societies. It has defined our present values and documented our history. I've mentioned 3 basic codes: words, music, and numbers. Call them ABC, 1, 2, 3, and Do, Re, Mi. All 3 work together in a mix of math and emotion. Without mathematics, the steady count of beats per phrase, there is no melody. Without words, melody can't tell a good story. Someone's passion is being sung in every poem, and every conversation carries a tune, and all of this adds up to performance art. We perform with skill and awareness, or we do not. We put words to just the right music, but we can also seem tone deaf. We behave like amateurs, and then we'll act with artistic precision. Art is subjective, personal, and always changing. We create beauty out of words. We create books, plays, films, and lasting attachments with words. Words can inspire us to appreciate beauty if we've never been encouraged to do so before. Words excite. Words comfort. Like any artistic expression, words can also create divisions. Words can produce fear and animosity. We have a curious relationship with symbols, it seems. We use them to our advantage and to our detriment. But we're not very good at seeing the difference. We're not great at breaking our own emotional codes. Consider the role you play. How does your character use words to communicate with other characters? How does your character communicate with itself? Do your words support a negative viewpoint? Do they criticize, complain, and sometimes even mock the speaker? You may think you sound positive and tolerant, but listen to your thoughts. They might not sound charitable. You think you are a cheerful person, but your frown says something else. You might swear you're an affectionate person, but your body language says you're not. You lean away from people. You avoid direct contact and warm gestures. I'm not accusing you. These are examples of how well we fool ourselves. Our self-image is often at odds with our own words and actions. The body speaks its own language. It tells secrets that the mind is unwilling to disclose. Our moods and gestures deliver messages in spite of us, and they often speak more eloquently than words. Your face is talking whether or not you make a sound. Feeling disapproval, your mouth tightens. Your brows lift. Your arms cross in response to an unspoken threat. Your fists clench. Your shoulders rise and fall in silent judgment, and your knees bounce with impatience. Your head tilts or turns or ducks away from possible controversy. Who needs a voice when the rest of you is so emotionally transparent? Most people keep their thoughts contained, but that doesn't mean their emotions aren't easily recognized and transferred. In a play, an actor gives us an interpretation of a character's motives. Any audience can understand that language. In a book, a character's thoughts and feelings are written in detail. The reader gets it. Consider the art that is going on around you. Everybody is delivering a silent soliloquy. They're performing without speaking. Their faces offer clues. Their mental narrative is unknown to you, but you get the message anyway. Emotion runs under the surface. It's chemical, subtle, but easier to interpret than speech. And it has a magnetic pull. We are naturally drawn toward another person's emotional drama. And we're not above pulling people into our own drama. Everyone likes a good story, and people who make stories come alive are charismatic. They can move crowds. Audiences want to feel, and they want their feelings to be mirrored. They want someone to feel as bad or perhaps worse than they do. They want a dose of drama and a taste of the emotional food they remember from childhood. Can you see it? Can you appreciate what you do? What we've all been taught to do? What you can see, you can change. And personal transformation begins with the smallest changes. You have time to improve your art while you walk this campus, so take advantage of every opportunity. Look closer. Listen more carefully. There are still so many mysteries left to solve. Of course, you've learned a lot about yourself already. You've recognized your own artistic prowess by now, surely. How you think, how you speak, how you use words, and, yes, how you move your body are all under your control, right? Nobody writes material for you anymore. Nobody feeds you lines from the wings. Nobody tells you to smirk, to shrug, or to roll your eyes. You make these choices now. Or do you? Your behavior is so automatic that you may not notice most of what you do and say. You may not even be curious about it. You've learned your responses by heart the way you once memorized popular songs and multiplication tables. And now, maybe those responses rule you. Maybe language has betrayed you. Maybe words jump out of your mouth without warning and cause all kinds of problems. If so, what happened? Did the artist become lazy? Did the musician give up? When was the last time you listened to yourself and questioned what you were saying? How often do you make a fresh observation or say nothing rather than saying something predictable? Do you dare correct yourself or admit you have no idea what you're talking about? Have you ever tried to stop a runaway train of thought? Or, even better, have you ever tried to keep that train from leaving the station? Outside opinions shouldn't control your thinking. Pay attention, and you can change the way you react. You can discard a few outdated beliefs. You can curb the monologues running inside your head. You can have pleasant and unpleasant experiences and remain emotionally stable. As you make your way around campus, you can teach your mind a few new tricks. The mind is meant to be flexible. It can quit stubborn habits and yield to new ideas. Encourage it to laugh at itself. Allow it to appreciate the beauty and to respect all things. Stop your fears from gaining momentum. This is not about becoming a more adept actor. It's about becoming a better human being. It's about clearing away some mental fog and giving yourself more opportunities to see. And what you see, you can change. Too many auditions. In order to get an acting job, you need to audition for a specific role. You are given a script and you're asked to perform a scene in an uncomfortable setting. It may seem that you've spent your life auditioning like this, and it might feel that you've spent significant amounts of time preparing for your next role. You've moved from one social circle to another since your earliest days, remember? Each situation was kind of a test, a way to exhibit your talents. Each new circumstance required you to please someone or to resolve personal conflicts. Every new society was its own mystery school. As you graduated from one school and enrolled in another, different rules applied. With every change, you were expected to get along with new people and to learn their language. Good communication may have grown more challenging, but its rewards were greater. At its core, communication reflects a need for truth. You, like everyone else, hope to be understood and to make real connections with people. You want your words to be faithful messengers of your intent, but they often fail. Words are symbols. They can only do so much to describe what exists. They suggest, they imply. Words pretend to be real things, but, as you've learned, they often do a better job of masking the truth than revealing it. You know people who hide behind a wall of words. You too know how to use language to mislead and deceive. You recite lines, you deny and exaggerate. Telling lies often seems like the best method of dealing with people. In the past, lies may have defended you from bullies. They defended you from the hard truth, and they provided alibis when you were afraid. But what about the future? How much longer can lies really serve you? You shouldn't have to audition for life. There is no need to fear the judgments of your peers. The friends you encounter on your strolls around campus are preoccupied with their own fears. They are concerned with fitting in, just as you are. Like you, they look for brave and authentic people to associate with, so it shouldn't be surprising that some of them have chosen you. Be aware, however, of the energy you spend trying to be them. We are all capable of inspiring others. We are innovators, we are artists, we are storytellers and weavers of dreams. We like to solve silly riddles and explore profound mysteries. Wherever we come from, we go about our everyday business in the same way. A woman speaking Kirundi in an African market says the same kinds of things that women say in markets around the globe. She bargains for fresh produce in the morning. She gossips about the neighbor's family. She scolds her children when they misbehave and comforts them when they're sick. When the night falls, she whispers words of desire to her husband. She understands the vocabulary of love and how to put her needs into language. All of us have things in common, but we come into the world as individuals. We approach every challenge differently and with a style that is our own. We walk across our little stage with a singular stride. We speak with a voice that distinguishes us from other artists. The world celebrates those who are unafraid to be one of a kind. Your gift to humanity is to remain genuine and unaffected. Your most valuable contribution is your authenticity. Your finest pursuit is in the truth as you walk through a market, across a campus, or onto any stage. Why does any of this matter? Once again, you may be wondering, what difference does all of this make to me? Well, as a student of art, you want to make exciting choices. You want all your creative efforts to reveal some level of truth. The tools you need are close at hand: your body, your words, your voice. The quality of your art depends on how you apply those tools. Your happiness depends on the way your art reflects your vision. Today, we focused on the art of the spoken word. How do you choose words? Do you say what you mean and mean what you say? Words are the tools of your trade. Are they obeying your intentions? If not, decide how they can serve you better. You utter the words and choose the tone. Are you paying attention to that process? Do you monitor your thoughts, or do they run ahead of you? You can improve your relationship with words by selecting them consciously and creatively. An actor interprets symbols and brings words to life. We all do it. We interpret symbols. We say words in a way that suggests how we feel. Words are just words. They're dead things that come alive through imagination. Spoken with intent, words can move hearts and change minds. Your words, spoken or unspoken, have the power to change you. Just as they've fixed you to one role, they can open you and expand your vision of yourself. Too often, words just fill the silences. You don't need to repeat mindless phrases or to say the same things in the same ways as if you've memorized the script. You can be a better communicator by listening and making sure your words represent who you are now. You may have settled on an acting style, but there are other methods to explore. You can even forget your comfortable techniques and rediscover authenticity. You can speak as if your words were sacred, just like the words of humanity's greatest messengers. In your story, you really are the messenger. You are also the message. You create an environment for other people to inhabit. The way you communicate can change lives for the better, or destroy budding passions. It can expand possibilities, or limit them. All of this is for you to decide. The campus of this school is vast and full of exciting options. Take it all in. Wander from the main walkways and distinguish yourself from other artists. With the wisdom that comes from experience, you will become more confident. With confidence, you'll be more willing to take chances and to speak for yourself. If inhibitions from childhood still plague you as an adult, you're not keeping up with your own evolution. I encourage you to come up with original homework assignments for this class. You are the best authority on you. You know your most predictable responses. You know your own pet words and phrases. You know your most touching stories. You also know your triggers and defenses. You know how to avoid judging by judging yourself first. You know this character of yours better than anybody. So study yourself, have fun, experiment a little, and challenge yourself. Check on your inner dialogue every now and then. How does it sound one day to the next? What feelings does it generate? Maybe you can make it through a whole day, a week, a month, without listening to the voice in your head. When it gets no attention, the noise will stop. For any artist, it matters to get comfortable with silence and be willing to let life rush in. What else can I do? We can all benefit by doing research on our fellow artists. We can learn to watch other people without comment or judgment. We can observe their reactions to everyday events and notice how we react in similar ways. We can feel their rhythm, hear their language. We can sense the message that lies hidden beneath their words. Once you develop a talent for listening to others, you can hear yourself better. You can ask yourself, what is my tone and my style? And then you can go farther. What is my message? You can ask. What kind of artist am I, really? Questions like those inspire new discoveries. A rewarding relationship with life begins with trusting yourself. It comes from appreciating your instrument, the body, the brain, and allowing it to play an authentic song. Never mind the techniques taught to you long ago. Don't worry about remembering your lines. If you pay attention to the moment, the right words will fall into place at the right time. We all get stuck. We can't seem to get over the spell of old stories, but that spell can be broken. Maybe you could start by writing about your life. Writing out your history is the best way to challenge outdated beliefs. Do it in whatever way you choose. Begin at the beginning, or at the end, or the middle. Any way you do it, you'll find some emotional resolution. You'll find perspective. You'll expose buried secrets and old grudges, along with things that have outlived their time and lost their purpose. Don't assume your life hasn't been full of wonders. Don't underestimate the role you've played in your own destiny. Tell your story objectively, showing respect for every character. Most of all, respect the hero, the protagonist. The choices made by that character were neither good nor bad. The plot didn't work out the right way, or the worst way. There's nothing to judge and everything to forgive. An artist understands this and handles every subject with compassion. Another good exercise is to imagine yourself as a playwright, starring in your own play. You are the storyteller. You're also the lead actor, the headliner. You are the intriguing plot twist, or the character who redirects the action. You're everything shocking, amazing, and reassuring. It doesn't matter how the audience responds. Enthusiasm matters, and love for what you do. Play it for you. Yes, be that daring. Try to imagine one important event in your story. Then imagine this. Your lines are improvised, not studied. Every motion and gesture is spontaneous. How would that alter the scene? How would simple honesty have affected the rest of the plot? Don't fear the past. Learn from it. Dedicate yourself to making future scenes ring with truth. You are a student of art. You are a painter, and the canvas is your life. You are a musician, and the symphony is you. You are a novelist, a composer, a sculptor. How do you make a masterpiece? For one, you respect your art, whatever its peculiarities. Trust your vision. See the beauty in everything and paint it into your canvas. Love the art of you and speak in the simplest idioms of love. That was day 2. Peace and love, people.